Hello and welcome to another episode of Inspire with Sean. My name is Sean Graves, your host for this podcast. Today we're going to be getting into a subject that really does matter to me as a person because we've all had those existential moments where it's like, what am I supposed to do with my life? What am I supposed to be doing? So, this episode is about purpose. Um, from an anecdotal side here, purpose, it's really hard to try to reinvent yourself from time to time. And thinking about purpose, especially my purpose in life, it has changed over time. But also at the same time, there's been callbacks and reachbacks to the past and how I have used experiences of the past and moved forward with what I want to do for my future. And one of the toughest things that I have noticed in my years of life is even when it comes to your purpose when it comes to job changes, or career moves and the leap into the unknown, it's been very difficult. It was very difficult, I will say, about 2 years ago, 3 years ago even, when I was thinking about this. So, a lot of my past listeners will know that my guests or even myself, I will talk about my service in the military. And so it's very easy to jump in to that career. It's should feel like it's easier to get out of that career, but it's so difficult because it's like there's a lot of things that we accumulate in time, especially a decade later of serving your country. And then it's like, okay, well, how do I tell a civilian what I did for 10 years of my life and the experiences and the knowledge and um, the usefulness, the purpose that I gained from this tenure to, well, the next chapter in my life. So I've had those moments where I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what I want to do with my life. Like, on one hand, I want to be a musician. On the other, I want to be a podcaster. On the other, I want to be an entertainer. Um, the next thing is, who knows what's the next thing? Maybe I'll be an author. Maybe I'll be a comedian. Who knows? Like, finding your purpose, I read so many books on it, and one in particular is What Color is Your Parachute? I read that book whilst on deployment, and I went through every single part of the book, and I felt like it was a really good um, start for what my purpose is for me. And I still use it to this day. Actually, for a lot of the things I listed for myself, such as like, my music, my podcast, my entertainment ship, um, a lot of it, I still reach back to that initial parachute idea. And I actually have two in particular. One is personal, which is a lot of this work here. And the other is for, well, how I make my livelihood in life, you know? No one ever stops and thinks like, "Oh, if you're a musician or if you're an artist, then, that's your job." Well, not really. Like you have to be very lucky in order to make that lightning strike and you can live off of, your art, what you do in life. So, to be able to have two parachutes, if one can call it that, and say, "Okay, this is what I'm doing. This is my purpose." You can always reinvent those two. You can always go back to those two ideas of purpose, and you can have multiple purposes. There's no one says you can't have one purpose in life or more than one purpose in life. There's so many that one can do. So I think that for individuals like myself, where it feels like we have a bunch of hands and a bunch of different pots, for looking into purpose purpose as a concept, it gets overwhelming and it also becomes underwhelming when looking at what our possibilities are and what we want to jump into vice what reality provides for us. So, I'm going to get into a monologue about what purpose is and why it's important to us, as well as what we can do as people here on planet Earth that can help us gain our purpose in life. To professionals and psychologists alike, and most people around, purpose is an abiding attention to achieve a long term goal which is both personally meaningful and makes a positive mark on the world. The goals which foster a sense of purpose are ones which can potentially change the lives of other people, like launching an organization, researching a disease, teaching kids to read, maybe even a podcast. Who knows? Our sense of purpose will change over the course of our lifetime. As we grapple with our identity as teenagers, settle into our responsibilities of adulthood, much like what I've been doing, and making the shift to retirement later on. The research finds our sense of purpose will naturally wax and wane. Like happiness and well being, purpose is not a destination. However, it's a journey and a practice, much like what I've been talking about in season 3, as well as what my guests and myself have been talking about in season 4. This means it's accessible at any age, if we're willing to explore what matters to us and what kind of person we want to be in the moment, and act to become that person. If we're able to revisit and renew our sense of purpose as we navigate milestones and transitions, suggests this research, then we can look forward to more satisfying and meaningful lives. Researchers have discovered a sense of purpose is linked to a number of good outcomes across the lifespan for both individuals as well as groups and organizations. Youth who have a sense of purpose also report higher levels of happiness and life satisfaction, which seems associated with better educational outcomes. One study looked at college students who wanted to help others create art or achieve financial success. The researchers did not find significant differences in positive outcomes among the groups. For young people, it was just good to have a goal, no matter what it was. For young and old alike, the physical benefits of a sense of purpose are well documented. For example, Eric Kim and his colleagues at Harvard School of Public Health have found people who report higher levels of purpose at one point in time have objectively better physical agility 4 years later than those who report less purpose. Patrick Hill and his Washington University colleagues have found important advantages for some purposeful adults, including better cognitive functioning and greater longevity. They're more likely to floss their teeth, exercise, and get to the doctor. Why? We may wonder. Researchers suggest people have better care for themselves when they feel like they have something to live for. Having a purpose also seems to be associated with lower stress levels, overall, which contributes to better health. Do some purposes confer more benefits than others? It's a really good question to ask. The answer so far is yes, if you are older. One study found that young adults with a more pro social purpose, one aimed at helping others, experience greater personal growth, integrity, and health later in adulthood. This result was echoed by a 2019 study by Ann Colby and colleagues at Stanford University. They surveyed almost 1,200 Americans in their midlife about their well being, what goals were important to them. The researchers found significantly higher well being among people who were involved in pursuing beyond the self goals compared to those who were pursuing other types of goals. In other words, engaging in pro social goals had more impact on well being than engaging in non pro social goals. Indeed, looking beyond individual lives, a sense of purpose appeals to have evolved in humans so we can cooperate, accomplish big things together. A 2007 study suggested managers can effectively boost the work experience, well being of their employees by helping them connect to a job related higher purpose. The 2013 Core Beliefs and Cultural Survey revealed that 91% of respondents who believe their company had a strong sense of purpose also say it has a history of strong financial performance. Purpose is adaptive in an evolutionary sense. It helps both individuals and the species to survive and thrive. Purpose often grows from our connection to others, which is why a crisis of purpose is often a symptom of isolation. However, once you find your path, you'll almost certainly find others traveling along with you, hoping to reach the same destination, a community. According to research by Kendall Cotton Bronk, finding one's purpose requires four key components: dedicated commitment, personal meaningfulness, goal directedness, and a vision larger than yourself. Often, finding our purpose involves a combination of finding meaning in the experiences we've had while assessing our values, skills, hopes for a better world. It means taking time for personal reflection while imagining our ideal future. So, here's some ideas and exercises purpose researchers recommend for finding your purpose in life. The magic wand. Think about the world around you, your home, community, the world at large, and visualize what you would change if you had a magic wand and could change anything. Then ask yourself why you choose what you did and consider concrete steps you might take to move the world a little closer to this ideal. This exercise has been used to foster purpose in youth and young adults in particular. One of my favorites is the idea of the best possible self. Imagine yourself as some future age, like 10 or 20 years down the road, and think about what your life would be like if everything went as well as possible. Then ask yourself these questions: what are you doing? What is important to you? What do you really care about and why? Focusing on ideal self can increase optimism for the future, which researchers believe is tied to purpose. Clarify your values. If it's hard to figure out what matters most to you, affirming your values can help. Three value surveys: the Valued Living Questionnaire, the Portrait Values Questionnaire, and the Personal Values Questionnaire, ask you to rank the importance of different values, something that can help you get clear about your purpose. Recognize your strengths. To get a handle on your particular skill, try the VIA Character Strengths Survey to see what it reveals about you. You can contact people who know you, teachers, friends, family, colleagues, mentors, and ask them what you're good at, what you seem to like to do, how you might make your mark on the world. Sometimes an outsider's opinion can help clarify your personal strengths and help you figure out how best to apply them. Volunteer. Finding purpose is aided by having a broad set of meaningful experiences which can point you in the right direction. Volunteering expands your experience while also improving your well being and helping the world. Not only that, volunteering puts you in touch with people who have similar values, who may inspire you or point you towards other opportunities for making a difference, which you hadn't thought of before. Cultivate positive emotions. Positive emotions help us to broaden our outlook on the world and feel energized to take action for the greater good. They can be useful finding purpose. Gratitude and awe, in particular, help us care about others, build relationships, feel connected to something greater than ourselves, which is why they're tied to fostering purpose. You can try this at home, you can try this at work, you can try this wherever you feel is applicable. And so I hope that this episode here on Inspire with Sean helps you with finding your purpose in life and at work and in relationships as well. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell notification if you're seeing this on YouTube. And I hope to see you all for the next episode. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and don't pollute. And I shall see you next time. Thanks.